So I got a new project I'm probably gonna be working on the next couple days. I'm gonna try to make the dagger from Shadow of Mordor and the new upcoming Shadow of War. It's not gonna be exact, it's gonna be mostly just inspired by the blade. But I got this at a yard sale probably 5-6 years ago for like 10 bucks. Somebody has been, banging it against another sword, or I don't know, maybe a fence or something. It's pretty banged up. They also ground all over it with probably a Dremel, maybe a grinder, I'm not really sure, but this kind of looks like a Dremel mark. So most of the marks are up here towards the top. So I decided I'm just gonna cut it off right across there, because most of this is clean. I can probably clean it up pretty well. This is here. I was trying to decide where to put the point of the blade. I originally thought to put the tip right about here, but with the groove on the blade, I thought that might be a bad idea. So the tip's gonna be up here. And that actually looks a little bit more like the one from the game if you're not familiar with it. That one's a little bit more jagged and broken. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna try to make it a little bit more usable. In the game, he also has a scabbard on his back that is cut down, so I'm going to try to do that as well. Just gonna line this up and probably cut somewhere about here. He has a piece of cloth that he drapes around it on his back, I guess over the hole. I'm probably gonna do, make a plug to put at the bottom and then wrap it in cordage. Try to just make it a little bit more sturdy. The other difference between the one from the game and this one is obviously the handle is not going to be exact either. He's got a two-handed handle, and this is kind of a one-handed handle. It might get changed if this breaks over time, but it feels pretty sturdy, so I'm going to leave it as it is right now. It's not made in China or anything, it's made in India. I'm not too sure if they're known for quality swords. I really couldn't tell you, probably not. But this one seems all right, and I think it'll definitely make a good knife. I think it'll sharpen up pretty well. It's dull right now. I don't know if somebody was practicing with it, or like maybe it's for stage. I really don't know. If anybody knows any information about it, that'd be great, but the information I found, it's not worth any money, so it's completely fine to cut up. I guess it's time to start cutting and get started. All right, I'm out here in my garage with terrible lighting. What I'm gonna try to do is take a hacksaw and use this groove cut right here and a groove cut right here. That's why I chose that angle to try to cut through this. I don't know if I'm going to be successful, but I've seen people use these to cut barrels, so I thought maybe it might work with a blade. It might take a while, and I might not get any footage because it might be hard, but I'll try. I've been at this for a couple seconds here, and you can see there is a cut that is actually forming, so it is going to work. I'll just have to probably clean it up with some files, maybe a grinder, probably just do some files just to make sure that I don't remove too much material. So far, so good. I wish I would have brought some water out here, though. After a few minutes of hacking at it with that saw, this is what I was left with. It looks pretty good. It's a lot more balanced than it was when it was the way it originally was. It was very front heavy before. Now this actually feels usable. And this is what I was left with. I might do something with this in the future. Maybe cut it off here and make a spear. What I have left on here to do, it's got a very rough front end here, very rough tip. I might have to grind this. I was hoping I'd be able to do it with hand tools, but it might need to be ground. It's very rough, and I feel like that tip is definitely going to break off, so I might need to bring it down a little bit. But I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. While I'm out here cutting already, I'm going to go ahead and cut this down as well. I've already measured it. Got a little line there. I'm going to cut. See how that goes. Well, that was a lot easier. Not too crazy about that material. I'm not sure what that is. I guess that's just very, very soft wood. Alright, after I cut that, whoops, I realized that this is kind of cracked. I don't know if I did that while I was cutting it or putting in the vise. It doesn't feel like it goes all the way down, but I don't really care for that. It still should still work, but not too keen on that. Got a new plan. I'm going to take a piece of scrap copper. I'm going to place it over that, and I'm going to bend it over the sides. I'm going to glue it down, and then I'm going to wrap these ledges that hang over with paracord all the way around, so it's really stuck on there, and then it'll be really sturdy. Just gonna go ahead and heat up the copper a little bit, so it'll soften up and it'll be easy to work with. Now that I got that all nice and hot, it'll cool down, it'll be easy to work with. So we'll go ahead and turn this off now. After it cooled off, I was able to bend it to a roughed cap shape. It'll look pretty good, I think. Put some 2-part glue on there, wrap it all around, and it should look pretty decent. Not perfect, but decent. For the next part, I'm going to go ahead and wipe this down with a little bit of ballistol. Got my glue ready. This really, you're supposed to clamp it on, but I can't really think of a way to do that without damaging it further since it's cracked. So I'm just going to go ahead and hold it on there until it's somewhat dry and just let it sit. Hopefully that's enough.
Cameras, I'm gonna probably put this down again. Maybe if I make some money off YouTube, I'll buy a tripod. Until then, I'm gonna be stuck with this, which is not good at all. But you know, when 5 people watch your videos, this is okay. Hello to all 5 of you. Thank you.
Well, I got this glued on pretty good now. There's lots of glue everywhere, but it'll make it a little bit stronger. It's not gonna look that great, but once I cover it up with cord all over, you're not gonna see it anyways. The only part you'll be able to see is this little end cap. And that's not going to really matter, I don't think. Not to me, anyways. Well, it's not the most attractive looking thing in the world. I knew it wouldn't be. I got it pretty much sealed up. It might be a little hard to see. but I did it when the glue was a little wet so that be a little tacky and stick on there well, and then it could also be forced down a little bit by some of the cord and stay on there good. I'm gonna take a lighter and try to fuse some more of it together so it's on there nice and good and won't come off. Won't move around as much. Well, that's about it for now. The only thing I need to do now is put an edge on this, clean it up a little bit, try to get rid of that little zigzag, because that's annoying. File this down, make it nice and skinny up here. It's thick right now, but I was able to smooth it out a little bit. And then maybe I'll take a little bit of black rattle can and hit that on the top. Maybe I'll leave it. I haven't made my mind up yet, but I'll probably also put a little bit more glue in there, seal it up nice. That's it for now. Thank you for all 5 of you that watched this, or less, who knows. Bye.